the shoe fits, wear it, cunt!
I am whitewashed a little bit. Alright, let's get the show on the road. I want to let everyone know first and foremost that I'm not a hateful person. Well, first of all, if you didn't notice, my shirt definitely says that, bombing for peace is like fucking for virginity, which, yeah, I make it myself. Inspired by someone that was dear to me at one point in time, and, yeah, you'll see me wearing this, but I'm taking it back. I mean, it doesn't help. I mean, there's all kinds of conspiracies out there. I mean, like, there's this and stuff and things. But that's not what we're concentrating on tonight. Let me adjust the mic here. Hope everyone can hear me all right. I actually have a voice mod, sort of little fun little thing here in chat, so you can actually change my voice and make what I'm saying amusing if you like. I'm gonna be having that as a thing on and off, but yeah, I can also change my voice too, but you probably don't want to hear me sounding like Darth Vader talking about what I'm going to come across tonight, but yeah. It is gonna be kind of a... Heck, I might even get banned from Twitch for this. Who knows? Alright, well, first of all, I want to start off with the fact that, well, I want to start off with, I learned that the frequency for, UFOs, it's, I guess, 1.6 gigahertz, and I was watching Skinwalker Ranch the other day, and they were talking about that and how it's been, like, very little talked about, and I don't know if it was disclosed until that episode or what, but 1.6 gigahertz. They have a tracker in the van on the new little team that's helping them out, and it is set to pick up that frequency and lock in on it and switch the cameras around to where it is instantly filming the UFO. And apparently that frequency also spikes when people have those bad, like, they almost feel like sinus headaches, but they're more akin to migraines because you get light sensitive and all that stuff. And it's from the radiation that is being put to your brain. In which, by the way, I may not be wearing a tinfoil cap tonight as per usual, but I do have the liner in this wonderful umbrella beanie, but you can get the liners as well as the usual caps that I'm wearing at tinfoilcap.co, and yeah, you get discounts in the future if you buy multiple and whatnot, but or if you decide to buy a second one. Anyway, point of the stream is I was watching someone that speaks a lot of truth and does his due diligence when it comes to basically sleuthing, reporting. He does his research, unlike most YouTubers or pretty much anyone these days. And I trust what he says because usually he has the source material right there on the screen, but he's been trying to show us and doing damn good job that nationalism or National Socialism. I'm not really sure which term I like better, but it's definitely not a bad thing. I mean, we stopped being a republic when George Washington got desperate during the Revolutionary War and had no choice really in his mind but to get a loan from the Khazarian Mafia, which up until that point, they weren't allowed in the 13 colonies because that's what the Europeans were fleeing from when they came here to start America. But along with the Khazarian Mafia, making a deal with the devil, they just decided to bring in the whole slavery circuit, which was primarily Irish at the time. So, thankfully, my family line wasn't in any of those shipments. Unrelated. Anyway, I just wanted to bring it to people's attention that, if you really, really dig into it, into the nitty gritty, the funding, everything, it all goes back to the Khazarian agenda. And I'm using that word because I don't need sued by those asshats. I mean, they murder and rape and abuse people that are German nationals just because they have a more pagan nature. Who knows? I don't recall the exact reasoning, but the Polish Khazarian Mafia, KM, that's what I'm going to say from now on, they were just doing some terrible, terrible things to Germans, and that is the reason Poland was invaded. Don't let their story or their control on the planet just blind you. I mean, it's obvious they control the television stations, Hollywood. I don't know how much of the Hollywood shares they had to kind of give away to China, but I don't feel like China's influence is as strong as a lot of people tend to make it sound like anyway. But I'm doing this late night chat because I want you guys to see some of the things that have not only been brought to my attention by the Christian whistleblower Jeffrey Darty, who has more Bible study experience and pastoral experience than anyone I've met. And I was ordained, I technically still am, but I was planning on being a preacher for a while. And my studies in religion and everything regarding that whole topic, whether it be arcane, which means secret or hidden, whether it be things considered cults, magic, just anything that could potentially unlock the true potential of humans. Well, lately I've realized like there are definitely distinct types of humans. Some can be considered NPCs that really can't see the forest for the trees. They seem to take life for granted, and I mean, go back to the Old Testament and you see humanity was created twice, Genesis 1 and Genesis 2. Genesis 1, the Elohim, which means like many gods, something to that effect. They were the ones that created Genesis 1 humans from light in their image, because the greatest lie ever told to humanity was that we were born with original sin, when in fact we are born with the spark of divinity within. That light, that's the light that the Khazarians, I believe, are trying to take from us because they don't have it on their own. Now, if you'll forget the passage in the Bible at the moment, but I was basically more or less a golem created from dirt and in secret. And this was when he was talking to God, and it was just ominous sounding. If you take the fact that when humans were created again, supposedly by the Lord, which usually means Yahweh, or Yah, whatever you want to term that demon as. But yeah, I can't accept any creator of mine being a jealous, humanized piece of garbage that loves to eat babies. I'm just gonna lay it out there for you. I mean, you sacrifice kids to him and he gobbles those bastards up. I learned tonight that Cain has been demonized. He was demonized by the KM because he detested the fact that his brother, when asked by Yahweh, just had no problem sacrificing up a child and just letting Yahweh munch that kid down. And that, I agree, is messed up. And I would have probably done the same if I had saw my brother do that. I'm not even gonna lie. I think doing anything wrong to children is unforgivable, let alone losing blood innocence. It's forgivable depending on the circumstance, but it's still not a good thing. I have my blood innocence and I plan to keep that. However, that's just one example. Let's see here. I believe, while I gather my thoughts here, because Genesis 2 beings, they were definitely created from the dirt. And it is actually a KM word, golem, which means being created from dirt or mud. And it's kind of funny that the KM actually coined the term golem, and yet the line of David from the mouth of King David himself is created from dirt, a golem, which would make, if Jesus definitively existed, that would make him a golem. That would make a good portion of people a golem. And I don't remember why I saw the number 6 million, but maybe we'll get to it. I'm going to play a little clip from tonight's Rockfin presentation of Unindoctrinate with Jeffrey Darty, because he has a little cartoon that I believe is very eye-opening, and I don't know, it sets the scene for what I'm feeling right now, and I wish it would come to fruition, because it is amazing as it is interesting and entertaining. So let's go to that here. Bum bum bum. And why is there no sound?
Sorry about how things went back in the 1930s. I have been in Argentina thinking things over, and I should have done things differently. These days I'm a changed man, and this is the dawning of a new day. I am now an avowed anti-racist, and we are going to crush racism once and for all.
This is amazing. I can see the headlines now. Adolf Hitler is an anti-racist. This could end racism for good.
Ah, Tel Aviv, what a great city. But I see there's work to be done here.
What do you mean, Hitler?
Too many Jews here. We need more diversity. Thanks to my new anti-racist organization, we are going to spice things up a bit.
They literally have a wall that nobody can get in.
Diversity is good. Diversity is a strength. Diversity is what makes the Middle East so peaceful.
So you are not a Nazi anymore?
Oh no, quite the contrary, actually. My anti-racist organization is lobbying for an open border policy for Israel. Non-Jews have just as much of a right to be here as anyone else. You cannot restrict the country to a specific group of people. That's racist.
Many people would think it's ironic that you, of all people, would end up leading anti-racism in Israel. Why did you choose this country?
Israel is a rich country. Only a racist would oppose non-Jewish immigration. Israel has not yet learned how to be multicultural. My organization is going to be part of the process of that transformation, which must take place. Israel is not going to be the monolithic society it once was. I'm going to be at the center of that. It's a huge transformation for Israel to make. We are going into a multicultural mode. I might be resented because of my leading role, but without that leading role, and without that transformation, Israel will not survive.
I hate racists and people who oppose this wonderful development. It won't be easy, but Israel will be multicultural. And we're benefiting financially and culturally from immigration. An open border policy is a good thing for any country. I'm proud to say that I support diversity and multiculturalism.
But the Jewish people have a right to exist as a unique people.
Ah, that's racist.
No, I'm not racist, but...
Well, I thought I heard you say you want to preserve your people.
Yeah, I think we have a right to preserve our culture and our people.
Ah, that is racist. So you believe you are God's chosen people? Some kind of master race? That just reminds me of the brown shirts in the 30s.
I'm not racist, but if this process continues, we'll be a minority in our own country.
Stop whining. Go and have more Jewish babies if you are so concerned.
Hold on, Hitler. Israel is being overrun with non-Jews because of your open border policy. It won't matter how many babies we have. We will still be a minority in our own country. Your policies will have destroyed us.
You Jews need to lighten up. Multiculturalism is great. Look at all the wonderful new restaurants you have to eat at now. Diversity is good. Diversity is a strength. Diversity is what makes the Middle East so peaceful. And diversity is saving Israel.
Hitler, is this your new rainbow dating organization?
Of course. These days I'm all about the love.
You're just the same old Hitler, an anti-Semite trying to erase the Jews.
That's nonsense. How can you love?
But you are only supporting Jews dating non-Jews. In fact, you are encouraging this. This multiculturalism and diversity agenda of yours seems to be just a scam to get rid of us for good.
Well, we could mix Asians and Arabs too. Would that make you happy? You are just a jealous racist who can't get a Jewish girlfriend.
Oh, I'm not jealous of anyone. I just believe this is some agenda to get rid of us. You may be for mixing other cultures, but your policies will still lead to a world without Jews. That's genocide.
Little Zionist, take off your tinfoil hat. You have been reading too many conspiracy websites. Jews all over the world love diversity and multiculturalism. Because I love you, I have given it one more try. We heal the world. We are the children of the rainbow. We heal the world. We are the children of the dream.
No, Hitler. Many Jews don't like what's happening, the Jewish people being replaced through immigration.
Jews should just embrace their multicultural future. There is no room on this planet for racism.
Wait, Hitler, you never answered the question. What you're doing is genocide, is it not?
Nonsense. This is natural. People migrate and fall in love. Religions come and go. I would not burden myself worrying over all this.
Look around, Hitler. Everything's non-Jewish now. You have forced a genocidal scheme on us.
I am not forcing anything. I have not killed anyone this time. Remember, I am now an anti-racist. I don't believe borders should stand in the way of people and culture. Diversity is good. Diversity is a strength. Diversity is what makes the Middle East so peaceful. And diversity has saved Israel.
Oh, God. Look, Hitler, we told you that your policy would make Israel non-Jewish. And I'm the only Jew left. You wiped us out for good.
Well, no one could have foreseen that.
Oh boy.
All right, guys. So, once again, I found that to be quite insightful. I don't know. It kind of set the mood for everything. Jeff, he put forward some good points there. Let's see. I'm gonna play one more excerpt, and then I'm gonna actually put in my own 2 cents. Maybe during. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'll figure it out as I go along. Anyway. Here we go.
Answers.
This is from tonight's Late Night in the Heartland on Rockfin. Jeffrey Darty,
the shooting is a hate
Christian
crime
whistleblower.
And an act of racially motivated violent extremism, says Attorney General Merrick Garland. I don't understand hate crime. If you shoot anybody, that's a hate crime. If white guy shoots a white guy, it's a hate crime. Black guy shoots a black guy, it's a hate crime. The baseless theory outlined is the Great Replacement, Christian identity. This is what I'm talking about. White supremacists across the borders and their hatreds of Jews and immigrants. It's not hatred to say, hey, why do you people, you Khazarians, not let anybody but your own into your country, but you're over here in our country doing everything you can to bring in as many people that aren't like us? If you think our country should have open borders and your country doesn't, what the hell?
And by the way, I wanted you guys to let me know if
it says
I have the ability for you to change my voice and
what they did, they're stupid.
All that stuff. There should be a voice mod feature on there where you can change my voice at random.
You're not the chosen people, dumb black people. People are the chosen people. He learned about the dangers of immigration from online research. Maybe he learned it from being in Texas or Minneapolis. But see what they're doing? Online research. Got to stop that online research. 4chan. Got to stop 4chan. And everybody in 4chan says the forward, who's supposed to be so forward-thinking. Everybody in 4chan is a right-wing troll. And everybody in 4chan is advocating for a war between Jews and non-Jews. You see what they're doing? They're trying to start a war between the blacks and whites so that the slave houses don't get together and march for the big house. That's what they're trying to do. We got to be smarter than them. And yet they still have to give disclosure. Gendron, the Khazarian, writes that non-Khazarians outnumber Khazarians by 100 times. But by their Khazarian ways, they turn us against each other. This is disclosure. Do you really think 18-year-old mophead video game playing dude wrote this? Of course he didn't write this. This is disclosure. Khazarians are outnumbered by 100 to 1, even more. They only make up 2% of the population of the United States. They're vastly outnumbered, and they do try to turn us against each other, have been doing it for 2,000 years. The Khazarians are the biggest problem the Western world has ever had. They must be called out. Tucker Carlson is called a racist and a white supremacist for asking, how precisely is diversity our strength? Diversity is not our strength. Diversity is a weakness. Having a common culture and a common cause, that's a strength. Horrified by the Buffalo shooting, which is motivated by hashtag this, hashtag that, the Anti-Defamation League CEO Jonathan Greenblatt tweeted it.
See, the understanding on this is, yeah, I changed my voice to baby. Deal with it. I don't mind. Anyway, he's illustrating how the Khazarian Mafia is, basically doing the same things the Democrats and the news spinners are doing. I mean, they all have the same agenda. They're all funded by the same agenda. You can follow the money. You can follow anything you want. In all of history, the KM have been behind every horrible thing ever. And I got the real zinger that I figured out coming up after Jeff reads this article from the Forward, which I believe is some sort of independent Khazarian nonprofit, I don't know, spin article. I don't know. I'll let him get back to brass tacks here.
Rhetoric that fuels hate-filled conspiracies has to stop. These are the consequences of conspiracies going unchecked. You see what's coming? You can't let Jeffrey Darty be on the air anymore. You can't let anybody that says anything be on the air anymore. Kicking them off YouTube ain't enough. They got to be gone from everywhere. That's what's coming. Don't believe me? Watch this. And he quotes from the Talmud. Disclosure. Saying they're God's chosen people. That's what they say. They are permitted to hate and exploit the Goyim. That's what the Talmud and the Old Testament say. This is disclosure. And the Talmud does give rules about engaging in sex with 3-year-olds. It's just a fact. Then they mention QAnon, anti-this, and they mention the American right. They even bring out George Soros and defend him. They make him a boogeyman. They say that Jews are driving critical race theory only because they are. Who writes 80% of the textbooks in this country? Who dominates the National Education Association? Who dominates his teaching profession? Who dominates the legal profession? Who dominates the politics that make it all happen? Racism embedded in society is a rallying cry for right-wing activism because we are tired of it. We don't want racism as far as prejudice. We don't want that. And we're tired of it. And yeah, we're just getting started. The Christian identity movement embraces dangerously erroneous ideas that precisely parallel those held by the Khazarian mafiosos themselves. The dumb Christian identity movement, whether they're dumb black ones or dumb white ones, because you got the black Hebrew Israelites and you got the white Christian identity. They're both dummies. They're both precisely paralleling the hatred of the Khazarian supremacists. There ain't no chosen people. People are the chosen people. The black Hebrew Israelites think they're the true Khazarians. The white Christian identities think they're the true Khazarians. And all other races are inferior and can't go to heaven, which doesn't exist anyway. This is you cannot distinguish that between Khazarian supremacism, Christian supremacism, or black Israelite, Hebrew Israelite supremacism. The Jews of the Old Testament weren't the Jews. The Christian identity person says they were. The black Hebrew Israelite says they were. And all three of them are wrong. And they're all still looking for a Messiah that is not a white man's religion or a black man's religion or a yellow man's religion or a red man's religion. It's not an Aryan's religion. And as people have said, the God of the Bible is a monster himself. This all got started when he accepted a human sacrifice from Abel, and Cain killed him, and then they made Cain the bad guy. No matter how you Bible believers twist and spin their interpretation of the Bible, Yahweh still is a bloodthirsty tyrant who delights in human suffering. How any Christian identity person or any black Hebrew Israelite, any Bible-based religion, how can they be anything that's wholesome or desirable when they worship a bloodthirsty tyrant and murderous deity like the God of the Bible? I rest my case. But today, the forward doubled down. I was done, but the forward doubled down. I might run a little over tonight. Cynthia's not here, so it doesn't matter. The forward doubled down today, and they published this. 4 reasons why a racist and anti-Semitic theory is so dangerous, and we need to stop it. This is a red alarm moment that Jews are obligated to confront. Do you know what this means? This means they are scared to death. This is their oy vey moment. They know that they're going to have to pack their stuff and run.
So there's a reason I've thrown on this baby voice, I promise you. And I'll get to that here shortly, whenever this portion of his speech concludes, because I'm not even going to say it, but he's the mailman, and, like, I feel like not enough people were going to hear the messages he put out in the wonderful cartoon he shared, which is so true. If we open the gates of Israel and let everyone in like they're doing here in this country, they would trip. Like, so, thank you, mailman.
You've got mail.
All right, back to that.
That's why they're pulling out these false flags. And this is a false flag, not in that it didn't happen, but that it's a Jewish kid pretending to be a racist Aryan kid when he's not. They can't find white people stupid enough to do this dumb stuff, this heinous stuff anymore. So now they're taking their own and making them do it. Wow. There's a grand plan to replace a white population of Western countries with people of color. There you go again, disclosure. Can't happen in Israel, but they're making it happen in the United States. And look at this. This is more, I'm giving you an NLP lesson here. There's a grand plan to replace a white population of Western countries with people of color. Blame non-Khazarians or non-white immigration to the U.S. Khazarians are masterminding a plan to replace whites. They are. It's true. It's beyond dispute. White replacement theory is becoming a more and more mainstream belief in America. And it's colliding with other dangerous ideas, like the claim of election fraud. Oh, they just shot themselves in the foot. We all know that there really was election fraud.
Finish him!
And if you're still thinking about voting, you're stupid. We know there was election fraud. And they've just said, if election fraud is real, this idea of the Khazarians bringing white replacement theory is also real. They've equivocated the two. This is called disclosure. And you want to know why they're upset? Because 32% of 300 million people believe that a group, according to the Associated Press, a group of people is trying to replace native-born Americans with immigrants for electoral gains. Let's just say there's 300 million people in America. That's about right. 300 million. And they say 32% of them believe this. That's 96,000 people. That's not right. That's not right. How do you not be able to do math, even with a calculator? 300, oh, I said 300,000. 300 million. Okay. 300 million times 0.32 equals 96 million people. Why are they so afraid? Let's just call that 100 million, okay? 100 million. Why are they afraid? Because they are 300 million. They are oh, isn't that interesting? The population, Jewish population of America now is about 6 million. Let me do that math again. 300 million Americans. And they're 2%, 0.02. Boy, that's an interesting number. Is that what it was all about? Was it all about this time? Was it all about this time? I wish I had some rods. Was it all about this time? Well, when you are 6 million and there's 96 and there's 100 million right now that are pissed off at you and have had enough, you are a little bit worried. Because you know that if all those slaves in the slave houses get together, there's 100 million of them. And if they start marching up the hill towards the plantation house, there are only 6 million there. It's time to grab your stuff and go. That's why I'm excited. That's why they're not excited. That's why they're doubling down. That's why they're saying it's a red alarm moment. Remember this?
That is the same cartoon I let you guys experience a bit ago. And let's see here. Let's get back to me. Alright, I believe here that I should state a revelation that I had while viewing this originally a couple hours ago. By the way, everyone should go check out Jeffrey Darty at jeffreydarty.com or the Christian Whistleblower, Undocumented, or Late Night in the Heartland. Not sure what his channel is called anymore on YouTube. Anyway, he inspired me, and tonight I believe I figured out, I read somewhere a couple years back that the Israelis nation made a giant statue of Moloch, not in the owl form, but the other form he's well known for. And I believe that since they placed it in the Colosseum, that I'm pretty sure that's where they placed it when they had it commissioned, but it's made of gold, and to me, I believe that since Cain witnessed his own brother, sacrificing a child to Yahweh, and in the story of Abraham was like, no. Well, he was all ready to sacrifice his kid, and Yahweh's like, no, you don't have to do that. I've got a child tied up here in the bushes. It's all good. And, yep, it's terrible. I believe that Moloch, the one and the same deity that they worship at the grove. Alex Jones, if it weren't for you, we wouldn't know about this, so I don't see how anyone can completely discredit you, but the Bohemian Grove is where the Moloch deity is mostly known from, but for Israel to commission a statue made of gold of the other form that's not an owl of Moloch, I believe that says a lot. And when calling into the show tonight, Jeffrey even admitted that after all his years of study, that linguistically, that sounds very feasible. And, I mean, they both eat babies. It's just, I don't know, less explaining whenever you just tell someone that he eats babies in the name of Yahweh. I don't know. Alright, let's see here. I am going to switch back to a regular effect because, or without effects, I don't know. Not really sure what the
Voice sounds like, but this helmet is hot as hell. Definitely hot as hell. Alright. Sorry, here's crazy. It's sweaty as hell in there, and this Umbrella Corporation beanie covers up the hair a bit, but it's hot as hell too. And I seem to have lost my my frequency shield from my beanie in the process of swapping. Once again, you can get those at tinfoilcap.co. I do not get paid for those, but my good buddy Rex Barrett Leak Project and Julian, they came up with those. They sell them, whatever. You can get your liners, your hats, all sorts of clothes, protect your junk. If you're a guy, protect your stomach. If you're pregnant, they got it all. Just check it out, tinfoilcap.co. Now, once again, I want to stress, none of this is a message of hate. I'm completely nonviolent. And real power, I feel, comes from knowing that you're able to do something if you need to and not using that power. Same thing with knowledge, but knowledge in general, if you have the knowledge, then there's responsibility that comes with it. And the power that comes with that is the responsibility of knowing when and when not to use that knowledge. Now, I honestly couldn't tell you what my voice sounded like with this, so I'm gonna just go clean to make sure. Well, I could be all like, I got the magic stick. No, we're going with clean. All right, yeah. Anyhow, I just feel that if you do any amount of searching, pretty much every problem in the Republic, well, the former Republic of America, started the moment George Washington sold us out and let the KM in, because the original 13 colonies, they weren't allowed. That's what we were fleeing from in Europe, is things like slavery, which guess who brought it into New Amsterdam and never left? New Amsterdam's New York, for those of you who don't know. Now, yeah, it's tragic, and it's tragic how much of our history is truly skewed. And the more I dig, the more I find about how the people that are skewing the history isn't some dark cabal, it's the KM regime. It's lies upon lies for centuries that build up and have created everything that is believed today. The narrative, the people that make more than 80% of the textbooks for all schooling, and the people that started the critical race theory nonsense, the people that started the nonsense of convincing the United Nations that America is the most racist country on earth, when prior to this whole far left Democrat Khazarian mafia rule, when if you guys noticed, the rules went out the window when Trump started making, well, I'm not saying Trump's not part of that rule, but he did do one thing. He started getting people nationalistic. The people, much like the German nationalists before the whole, before 1945. 1945 is when it all went to hell, and the KM narrative changed everything. Because do you really think the people that run everything would have let the Chancellor be on Time Magazine's Man of the Year if he was all about that? I mean, he was referred to as like as akin to the Dalai Lama at one point in time. I believe that exactly what Jeff said, and a lot of these ideas, yes, I got from Jeff, but I have been able to verify independently with sources of my own, and some of these thoughts I came to as well. So, I mean, this isn't 100% an ode to Jeff's work, but he is definitely the person that inspired this stream tonight for episode 2, because I want to show you guys that I'm pulling out all the stops for the Rearview of Possible. That's why the title. I mean, everything that's possible is far behind us, and we're in the realm of absolute madness. Like, I've seen where laws of physics have changed or whatever in small ways over time. Sure, it could be from the sun. It could be because we live in a realm like Yggdrasil, and that we're in Middle Earth right now, or Hollow Earth mixed with some electric universe theory. I'm leaning more towards that, but the realm thing gets me, and I will never understand the flat earthers or why the ability to think on a grand scale escapes some people so much, because their whole I'm just going to say flat-tard nonsense, because like I said, I'm pulling out all the stops from now on, because I honestly don't care. I'm not trying to make a career out of this. I just want to interview people, and normally it's not going to be live stream. Normally there'll be a version for YouTube and the other formats, which so far it's Odyssey, Rumble, and BitChute, and here, but I felt the need to stream tonight, so this is going to be one of those rare occasions, because I got to bring forth content anyway. But when the time comes, I will likely choose not to be monetized if I ever get that many subs. But on that note, please like and sub, because it gets the word out. And also, there is a nonviolent way we can begin to change things here in America. Like, I was just speaking with the creator of the Quixbox, Gavin Wentz, and they have he's painstakingly found a team of people that could take an Android box, basically a TV box, and de-Google it, and he was telling me how I would be surprised how every single device, every single website, everything's based around commerce, which has our personal identities tacked directly to it. I mean, you honestly, especially if you have a smart house, can't fart without Amazon, Google, and all of big tech knowing it. And they are the primary vehicle for the KM these days. And I implore everyone to go out and grab the advanced pre-release while it's still only $150. Yeah, you can get an Android box for like $20 at Walmart or something if you really want to go soulless and cheap with it. But what you would be getting with the Quicks box is next level. It is how we can take this country back and make it a republic that respects free trade and actually goes by the those little things we like to call the amendments to the Constitution. Like if basically the backbone of the internet is started by DARPA. I mean, you probably know that. DARPA, Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, I believe that's what the acronym stands for. They started DARPANET, matters not. Basically, we're using, for all of our fun and games right now, for this stream, everything, it's being streamed on the United States government, if you want to call it that, not a corporatocracy. We're on their emergency broadcast communication system right now. And this box uses a private network, their own DNS server, everything, so that the boxes only communicate with the DNS server and the other boxes. There's no personal information attached to the boxes except for the MAC address, and which is basically like a little personal identification number for the box, not the owner, the user. None of that information stored because the Quick system runs on a private network. Now, Gavin, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong on any part of this if you happen to run across one of my streams, and I hope to have you on to talk in depth about it like you did me, because you blew my dome piece straight back, and it was like, I felt like, I don't know, it was like whenever you're playing Final Fantasy and, you know, the whole battle disc. Yeah, that's how I felt whenever I got the lowdown on these boxes. Now, I feel it was quite necessary this time, and I feel like he was ringing a message that had to get out. And I'm not a fan of the X22 report. I mean, they spread a lot of Q-tard nonsense, and it's all like Abrahamic based, Lem, KM, take your pick. But it's basically an agenda for disinformation. They mix just enough truth with made up nonsense and get people to think Trump's the second coming when he wouldn't have been president if he wasn't part of them. It's just they realized the desperation. They needed a fall guy that was on his way out in life and could care less anyway. That's why this president is, well, if you want to call him that, this puppet is being paraded around as president of the corporatocracy. But because he doesn't care, no one cares about him, and he's done enough messed up stuff that X22 report actually was referring to him as one of the leaders in the KM, which is hilarious to me. But regardless, that whole thing in Buffalo, the unfortunate event, I'm not even going to call this thing false flag because it was terrible. And the fact of the manifesto, the fact he was wearing some kind of, from my understanding, cheap Chinese body armor that had a symbol that kind of makes it hard to basically, there's a number 14 on his gun. There's some recurring 14 theme, and a fish. I don't know if the fish was on the gun or not. That's just what the report said, and I don't even know where my mom finds these things, but I digress. They said that it was funded and obviously planned by the Khazarian Mafia, which I agree with wholeheartedly, and Jeff was going to get into that, and that's the reason he switched to Rockfin. So maybe if I just step off of that part, if he didn't go too far in his regular stream that hit YouTube, which is pretty much, I'm pretty sure that's all I played. Anyway, but the KM are definitely behind it. They're even discrediting our, well, the cause that I've come to realize that I do support, and it's our national socialism. We need to have it back here. We have not been the republic that our founding fathers set us out to be since George Washington was down on his times. He was apparently communicating with his friends back in Europe the entire time during the Revolutionary War. And when our army was basically dead broke, people didn't have boots, didn't have the proper anything they needed. And Washington felt desperate, so he took a loan from the KM, which was a sum much larger than the guy that actually he communicated to about the loan could have provided. So, the entire movement was behind that. So, I mean, we were sold out by Washington from the start when it came to this whole KM agenda. And, I mean, regardless of the fact, you used to be able to find 16-hour-long documentaries that would make any rational person 100% positive that the whole we'll just say work camp narrative, and that was supposedly ordered by the chancellor, which is nonsensical as hell. Especially since even Red Cross numbers reported more of that sort of person after the supposed camps than prior, which, does that not add up to anyone else's logic? Anyway, I mean, it's the same story every time. If you get in the way of the Khazarian agenda, you get demonized, and now they can just say Nazi, 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 and people are all crazy. Just crazy. I mean, the Khazarian Mafia are running currently, right now, in Ukraine. They are running a psyop like hell. What's happening over there, from the best of my knowledge, because Russians aren't involved in any sort of war that they're aware of, according to them. I mean, I'm sure the ones that watch Western media think a little bit differently, because, I mean, do I have to explain? But anyway, the Ukrainians are being murdered by their own country members that are claiming, well, not fully claiming, they're brainwashed to believe that they're the traditional Nazi, which I don't subscribe to that word. There's a difference between the German nationalists, National Socialist, whatever, and the N-word, which I'm not going to even say anymore, because it's been tainted. It's you can't even use the symbol, and there's no redemption for it. So, as Jeff suggested, not even going to try. Now, those people that are pretending to be the Russians, majority of the Ukrainian people, they know what's up by now. And it's getting harder and harder for them to hide the truth. I mean, well, for the media, the Western world, the UN agenda, the KM agenda, call it what you want. It's all about world domination, and it's all about funding both sides of every war in recorded history so that they can basically manipulate the outcome. It's problem, reaction, solution. That's how the Khazarian mafia has worked. That's how they've always worked. And they're getting desperate. It's obvious to everyone. And die. And the reason is, he once said that the greatest lie ever told to humanity, was that we were born with original sin. And that keeps us feeling guilty, under control. All the Abrahamic religions are based on control by guilt, especially the Catholics. Don't even get me started. And the fact that they're going to be all cowardly, call themselves Catholics when they're actually KM, and then just run away scared, you know, when that was probably the only way they were really permitted. I'm getting way ahead of myself on a topic I don't even want to touch on, but the truth is, we were born with the spirit of divinity within. It's not that I'm not a deist. I believe in source, God, but Yahweh is not my creator. My creator is the Elohim. I am a light being from Genesis 1, not a dirt golem from Genesis 2. And if you disagree that even Jesus was not a dirt golem, or a golem made of dirt, and a Genesis 2 being after your light, then just look in the Bible where King David's talking to God. It's that verse, well, it's around that verse where he's talking about his people being like the sand on a beach, like in Number one day. I don't know, some promises going on, but he mentioned that he was a being made of dirt in secret. Now, why would King David have to be made in secret if he was just like everyone else? And they say the line of David is the line of Yeshua, whatever you think of him as. I hear stories about the ones who say, yeah, Jesus wasn't real, it's all Yeshua, blah, blah, blah. That guy wielded a sword and killed all sorts of people. I mean, you people need to quit mixing your stories and do your real research. I mean, everything that we get fed by the mailman, Mr. Darty, once again, I got to play it. I wish he had this.
You got mail.
Yeah, if you played that at the beginning of every stream, I would be happy. I love that. Or from Euro Trip, mail, motherfucker. No. Anyhow, for the purpose of hate, like as far as religion goes, or even blood. Like an Aryan can be any race, basically. I mean, there are... It's part of the narrative that the KM have spun, saying that they're all blonde-haired, blue-eyed, Scandinavian types. And that's simply not true. They're just trying to divide us. And anyway, the Aryans are the Indo-Europeans originally. Like, that's where it comes from. And they would be more thought of as, like, Iranian. And, you know, maybe to the average American, a little Arabic-looking, just with maybe blonde hair, blue eyes, maybe. But not even. I mean, humans are so... The admixture is so thick that it doesn't matter anymore. Race is never going to be a true issue unless you make it part of your agenda to make it an issue. And I'm sure very few people, if any, really want that when it comes to it, unless they're so unintelligent that they can't see that the world isn't black and white. But once again, I digress. The logical next step is the amazing Gavin Wentz. He is the, I believe, the CEO of Quicks. I'm not sure the full name of the company. Maybe it's Quicks Media. I don't know. But you're going to have the ability to, if you get an advanced pre-release box now for, I believe it's like half price of what it's going to cost. Yeah, you're going to pay $150, and when you get it, if you pay the advanced pre-release price at QX.TV, no, it's not Cux. Just put that out of your mind. It's Quicks, but Quantum User Experience is what the letters stand for. However, you're not only going to get complete privacy, like the only thing that's going to be attached to your box as far as identity goes is basically half of an email address. That's I believe that's how it was explained to me. There you go, buddy. Go find Mom. Sorry about that. My dog got stir crazy. But it's a closed network. There's no information attached to your personal identity. The only things that, like, say you're going to be able to have a channel on there, like a YouTube channel, except it's going to be called a portal. And you can customize it. It's set up a lot like YouTube portal creation. And I've already started creating mine, even though I haven't received my box yet. But that will be coming extremely soon, from what I'm told. I love that Gavin, I called the number to get the 411, and he called me back from his personal phone. And I am able to call him with any questions or concerns anytime. And that's how positive of the plan that he's got for this box is, and how good of a thing he wants to make sure that everything is perfect with it. And he is a very hands-on CEO, and that's what makes me so sure that this is going to be the next big thing. All right, it works off of a private network, basically. Like, you know, back in the day when you had, you would go game like Duke Nukem 3D back on maybe Windows 95 or something. Windows 98, who knows? And you got like all these computers set up in one room, just networked directly together with the patch cable, or switch, whatever. Basically, it's completely enclosed. And getting off of the emergency network of the United States government's creation makes it so we actually will have all of our rights back when it comes to personal property, freedom of speech. All that stuff can once again be enforced indefinitely. You open up a store on there. There's going to be called Quixbucks, and it's going to be 1-for-1 ratio with the American dollar. You can have your money direct deposit on there. Like it's gonna be basically like Amazon. You can get anything, and no one has to know any of the transaction stuff except for the merchant and the end user, the buyer of whatever's bought. I mean, there's no information attached with the Quixbucks. It's like digital form of cash. So yeah, you could build a blockchain on the Quix network if you really wanted to, but why? I mean, do you really want it so the government will know what you're spending your money on, the money you're making, anything like that? Because I don't. It's taxation is theft anyway. And I believe JeffreyDarty.com has has some information on that through a lawyer that he is acquainted with, and there's a link on the site, if I remember correctly. And you can see why you don't actually have to pay taxes legally. But I know, Jeff, you have basically something that the Quick system with the Quixbucks is setting up going on, where you're taking money out of the hands of the man and putting it back in the people's hands, but not enough people know about the Quix box. I mean, when the messenger service starts up, it's going to be like end-to-end encryption, and each box is like its own hardware VPN. Now, I'm interested, and so is Gavin, to see exactly how it would work with the Deeper Connect device, which is basically a decentralized VPN. But that would, I guess it's up to me to try the combination and find bugs and see if I can actually find out identities, or like find a backdoor. They're going to have bug bounties for the advanced pre-release purchasers. So if you like finding 0-day exploits or bugs or anything like that, you're definitely going to want to get in early, and maybe you'll get paid nice for a really good bug bounty, because they have some top programmers, and they had a hell of a time finding programmers that didn't know how, or that knew how to work with things that, well, basically no one knew how to, well, few people knew how to build a kernel based on Android from the ground up, so that it was completely de-Googled, completely de-ARPANET, like backboned, all that identifying, tracking nonsense taken out and made impossible. Each box comes basically as a blank slate and connects directly to the Quix update server, and when you first turn it on, it downloads its operating system at that moment, so that you know no one's tampered with it on its way to your house or wherever you're having it delivered. And the end-to-end encryption chat system, when it's rolled out, I think he said August maybe, or maybe it was August, where they're rolling out that you can scrape sites beyond YouTube. Like, regardless, I'll get to that in a moment. You'll be able to plug in a webcam straight into the box and have end-to-end video encryption, live stream, whatever you want, uncensored. Your rights will be back. It's a solution to all your streaming problems, and no one's going to be able to mess with gremlins in the system, ghosts in the machine. No denial of service attacks, nothing. And Millie's tested it on her streams many of times, from my understanding. So I'm fairly confident it's the next step at taking the country, if not the world, back peacefully, by taking all their cards out of their hands that they've so meticulously manipulated us into giving them, most without knowledge or consent. Actually, everyone without consent, pretty much, because even when it comes down to the user agreements, who really reads those unless they've been screwed over a lot, or are lawyers, or just habitually read everything and follow the rules like a utopian Boy Scout, who knows. But I'm excited about this because there's all these projects like Box, like, you know, the online file storage site that's supposed to be somewhat anonymous-ish. They've got a creation on Indiegogo right now where you can basically get paid for providing file storage that's encrypted and all this other stuff, but you pay $1,000 and you get this little component that hooks up to the internet, and it uses blockchain technology and all this other stuff, and it works on proof of, I'm guessing, storage. I don't know what that form of blockchain mining tech, whatever is called, but you only get like one of these little tower things, and if you want more than that, it has a capability for like 9 or 12 of those, and each one of them's only a certain amount of storage, and it's kind of ridiculous. You have to be integrated onto the blockchain and all this other stuff, and you're paying thousands when you can have decentralized file storage and probably get paid in QuickBooks for it too. And now, mind you, being paid in QuickBooks isn't going to be all that bad because anyone can set up a store on there and sell whatever they want to. And it's going to be better than Amazon, in my opinion. Not so China-fied, whatever. I mean, it's going to be going more on the rules that they use to get by the marijuana legalization statewide in California when the feds were severely cracking down in the beginning, since it was still federally illegal once they made it legal in the state. Like, it's going to be kind of based on the same rules by, I believe he said, by basically privatizing it. And I digress once again. I'm going to try not to speak on things I'm not positive of, but this is truly going to be a game changer. I had not intended this live stream to take this direction, but I have been so excited between listening to Jeff and his UFO specials lately, which that's not where I learned that UFOs are trackable with the 1.5 gigahertz frequency that they seem to put off whenever they're in operation, or when they use negative space to instantaneously, like instant transmission, like Goku or something, from one spot to another. Like, they don't actually travel. They just go into negative space and reappear in the ether all around us wherever they want to. And I can't account for the force field, like gravity well, that surrounds the vehicle when they actually do travel at the strange, like, no acceleration or deceleration. It's like a pre-planned speed and distance and vector of location, whatever. Anyway, they put off a 1.5 gigahertz frequency, and if you find yourself, if you think you're a targeted individual and you find yourself getting these bad sinus headaches and whatnot, you might invest in something that picks up frequencies, like sound frequencies, and see if it's putting off a 1.5 gigahertz signal, and if taking a step inside of a Faraday cage or an all-metal room, like a metal silo, like they have in Skinwalker Ranch show, and see if that makes it go away, see if you're picking up the 1.5 gigahertz signal, because if so, then there's a good chance you're not crazy. But whether they're actually aliens or interdimensional beings or Third Reich that held on to UFO tech and we just have crappier versions of it, and the whole KM could be afraid and pushing this whole UAP threat narrative because it's really the Chancellor and his buddies. Maybe they really did win the war. If you notice, Germany wasn't listed in the whole Antarctic Treaty, which meant they already had land down there definitively, and all the countries that were insignificant at the time and didn't even have science programs and didn't really have much right to stake claim, they that were, like, places filled with the National Socialists that fled after the war and lived out their lives like the Chancellor did in South America. Those countries like Argentina, Brazil, they were part of the Antarctic Treaty, and I'm pretty sure that those countries inherited the former German territory, if there even is former, because some say there's land beyond. I believe there's land beyond the poles, yes, but I don't believe in this whole ice wall, like we are mirror of a crater on a larger planet sort of thing. I don't know. It's this new crap going around. I don't even see how they can justify that, because it doesn't even look like the land masses that we know of look nothing like the crater. I don't see why people got to do all this forcing just because they can't see things on a grand scale, and it bothers me. But I digress once again. I'm going to get back to the Quicks box, because it is that revolutionary, and more people need them. I mean, they need as many people as possible to help develop. There was a lot of scumbaggery going around by the KM trying to stop this from getting to completion, and they basically had to pull money out of their own pockets and stock in their own company, sell it, and fucking make sure that they got the ability to continue to put out the orders that have been made and continue the business, because it is that important. And I fully agree and back that, every bit of it, after what I've heard. I mean, it's revolutionary, and if you want to truly be free like it was intended with the American Republic, and not part of the big tech corporatocracy who's above the law and makes all the rules, because all the ones that we thought applied don't really, especially when we involve the internet and commerce. Thank you, and it just makes me... I cannot stand Elon Musk. He didn't even know who Tesla was till like 5 years ago, even after he named a company after the dude, which proves to me he's probably just like Gates and just steals ideas and doesn't even look that deeply into him. I digress. Elon Musk, he invented PayPal, and I'm sorry to someone who has feelings of endearment for him, someone in particular, but he's a scumbag. He's part of the agenda, and if it weren't for him, we wouldn't be in a lot of these predicaments, because he had to monetize pornography, and that was the reason PayPal was created. And now the internet is garbage. I'm sorry, it is what it is, but we have the power to take that back, put it all back in our hands, and make them bastards clueless. We would put the Fed out of commission, and even military personnel, people with top secret security clearances, people with Q clearance, like any people that need the security and encryption when they use a computer for whatever reason, they would be able to get it through the Quicks box. It has 256-bit military-grade encryption, and it is completely compatible with their the smart cards, and that I feel was great. It's all-inclusive, so even the asshats in DC can use it to their heart's content. I mean, it provides a whole new bucket of evil. Well, a potential bucket of evil, since Ukraine can no longer be used as their little money laundering, child trafficking capital of the world anymore, with the whole deep state KM agenda powering it all. But I mean, I'm actually happy Russia put a stop to that. They just stepped in, stomped a mud hole, put out all the biological warfare facilities that we installed over there, and said peace. We weren't in no war. We were just rescuing basically the light beings from Genesis 1. Like I said from the beginning, it's good versus evil. Genesis 1 beings versus Genesis 2 being agenda. And I'm sorry if you're caught up in the agenda, the Genesis 2 golems, but you need to wake up. If you're not an NPC, if you have empathy and you feel the call of the blood, which is basically the call of the light. If you have empathy and you're a good person, you need to wake up and get unentangled from these Abrahamic religions and their agenda, which is just a united agenda to take your soul. Think about it. Blood magic, communion. That's all that is. You're doing witchcraft every time you go to communion. And the asking demons into your heart, in this case, former dirt golem who's been upgraded by someone who eats babies and enjoys it. I wouldn't be asking those things into my body in any way. That's demonic possession, in my opinion. So you need to wake up. I don't care what your pastor's told you. The book says otherwise. You can verify for yourself at BibleHub.com. It's ridiculous to even question it when all the answers can be found right in the book that you think that you know and have no idea. And I'm going to end it there. Everyone go to qux.tv and grab that advanced pre-release. You can check it out for yourself. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me anything you like. And if that doesn't work, get on Twitter and follow the Quicks account there. It's just quicks.tv. I believe is their handle on Twitter, and definitely check out some details at the website. And it's got an amazing new remote. It's 4K compatible. Streaming's going to be great because you're not dealing with all the Google scrapers and the trackers and even things on the internet now. Even if you have a VPN, I mean, the feds can kick in the door of your centralized location VPN place and take any information they want. And they probably already have a backdoor into all of them anyway, because there's a backdoor into all this stuff. And Quicks is closed network system, and the boxes only communicate with the, I believe, the CDN, the cloud, basically based DNS server. I'm pretty sure that's what he meant by CDN. And the other boxes. So it's truly the next step. When you make a portal, you can, like, say, you only have attributes for what you watch, because it scrapes YouTube videos as of right now and soon other places, but it scrapes them, like, as far as their videos go, and leaves no information as to what kind of device or who, or no IP, nothing, what scraped the video. And it's their servers doing it, so it's not your actual box. So it's not even known, which box that video's stream is going to in the first place. But so say you do a stream and upload it to your portal, and a person that likes to buy sewing stuff, I'm using the example I was given, likes to buy sewing stuff, watches your video, and they're known to like to buy sewing stuff because even though there's no identifying information, like that box likes sewing stuff, and you can choose what information you want to share, of course. But also, in retrospect, you also may be, like, if you give permission, you could be approached by a sewing company that has, like, maybe a store that person bought from on the Quicks marketplace, and they may approach you and be like, hey, you have a lot of people that buy sewing supplies from our store watching your show. We want to sponsor you. So you get to choose your monetization options. It's complete choice. You choose your experience. That's the whole point of it. You can be as anonymous as you want to, or you can have the experience tailored to you the way you want, with no secrets, no nonsense. And if you had thoughts of phones in mind, that's their next project. I'm not sure any details on that, or whether they're already working on it, but I have seen like a little preview video on Millennial Millie's Twitch, I believe, that just for a quick second showed a picture of phones with a Quicks brand on them, that's marvelous. Because once we got all the phones and all the home streaming, viewing, all those options locked down on Quicks, like, it's over for those controllers, because they ain't going to have a source of information anymore. Because without their government-owned backdoor internet backbone that they have complete control over and an off switch to, they ain't got shit on Quicks. And that's actually where I'm going to end it at, because you may have a general idea of where that whole movement, if the silent majority that are tired of the oppression, tired of the taxation, tired of all the nonsense the KM have subjected us to, then that is the next step to taking this republic back. Because you can't just kick in the doors in Washington, start arresting politicians, or kick in the doors of pharmaceutical companies and start arresting them and charging them with crimes yourself. I mean, and no one's going to gather against these titans of industry, so to speak, but we can change the paradigm. And if you are like me and want to do it the nonviolent way, this is the logical first step with the Quicks box. Like, once again, Quicks.tv, and check out Jeffrey Darty and his wonderful continuing message. He does more due diligence and hard work when it comes to making sure that his information is correct than anyone I've ever seen. And yeah, he is harsh sometimes, and I'm sure every one of his longtime fans have had a stint of time where he said something that offended them personally, pissed them off, and they didn't watch him for 6 months. Myself is included in that. Like, I got pissed because shit happens. He's harsh, but you have to be to get points across, and he's a no-nonsense individual. You just got to understand that's the way he is, and everyone has their bad days too. You can't forget that either. But JeffreyDarty.com, Late Night in the Heartland and Undoctrinate is usually the names you can find his thing under, or the Christian Whistleblower. And like Jeff says, we are the last generation of real human beings, and it is up to us, maybe not us particularly, but definitely our children, if not us, to get busy and take this next step and make sure that our grandchildren have a much better place than we're trying to exist barely and unable to thrive in. We got to make sure our grandchildren thrive. So on that note, remember, best advice ever given to me is that the biggest lie ever told to humanity was we were born with original sin, when in fact we were born with the light of divinity within. That spark that makes us human creators, the fractals of the source. That's how we were made in our Creator's image. We have that light that is able to create everything, and once we realize our true potential and shed this mortal coil, or even maybe transcend the need to, then we will be, in essence, no different than the Elohim. It's just, we gotta take one foot in front of the other, go in the right direction, and unindoctrinating yourself is the first step, and choosing the Quicks box, I think that's the next step, because it's the only non-violent option that probably has ever been conceived to radically change the entire world by forcing a different paradigm using their own rules and their own systems. What could be more perfect? I'm Aaron Corbitt. You have just seen the second episode of the Rearview of Possible, because everything we thought was possible is way the hell in the rear view. This is a new world. We're new humans. Good night. Good morning, actually. And goodbye. No, I'm not feeling that. Let's do a... Peace, guys.